Welcome to the May 4th, 2021 episode of Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
And, wow, already May, and Justin Timberlake has shined on us all.
And you know what? Because it's May the 4th day, it sure makes me think about Star Wars, which is an amazing coincidence because... Yeah, well, I was just going to mention, it's an amazing coincidence because there's... zero Star Wars news to talk about, so let's just move on.
Well, actually, it was a pretty light news week. I was looking through even my Twitter likes, and I barely liked anything this week. Which is,
it's light as far as big breaking stories, but I have to say that the stuff that's on our list to talk about, most of it, at least kind of into.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of times we have a giant list, and I'm like, well, okay, for 2/3 of it, but I'm mostly into this stuff.
Almost all. I would say pretty much all of it is something I at least am happy about.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, there's no. Well, no, I was gonna say there's no outright negative news. There's there's one
the debacles. Thing. The debacles.
There's 1.5 things, but yeah, we'll get there.
Well, I'll let you explain the first one because you broke this to me.
Yeah, the first one is unfortunately utterly disgraceful. The second one's disgraceful in a completely different way, but this one's disgraceful.
We'll get to that last one.
Yeah, we'll do that last. But this one's disgraceful in a malicious way. So Humble Bundle has been purchased, and this was years ago, I think, but it's been purchased by, I believe, IGN's parent company, and they recently had some sort of policy instilled, which, normally the whole gimmick with Humble Bundle is there's kind of pay what you want, but with minimum thresholds. This is the $1 or more set of games. This is the $5 or more. And there's a slider for how much of what you choose to pay.
It's J2 Global, by the way.
Excuse me. Thank you. But there's a slider for how much of what you're paying you want to go to the devs or to charity. And you can make it 100% charity if you want to. That's your call. They're selling games dirt cheap. The point of this is not to make fistfuls of cash. Except maybe now it is. Because now they... I don't know anything about any price changes, but now there is a maximum of 15% that you can set for your proceeds to go to charity. And when they announced this on the rules... I think literally 100% of the responses were like, dude, that's not cool.
I mean, the whole reason why that platform is attractive is because a lot. They're really cheap, but a lot of people do it just because of the reasoning behind it, because of the donations.
It's cheap, and also I don't know how often people are thinking of donating to charities just randomly. But if you're buying games and there's do you want to have this money go directly to this or that? It's easier to remember that kind of thing exists and go, you know what, sure, okay.
Yeah, you know what? Limited Run Games does a donation to the Video Game History Museum.
Oh, and, sure. Yeah.
That's run by Frank Cifaldi and what's her name from Pink Gorilla? One of the Metal Jesus Rocks people.
I wouldn't know.
But yeah, she's famous on YouTube.
Sure.
And they're really, really awesome. They do a lot of really great work, and Frank Cifaldi's even done a lot of emulator ROM stuff in the past.
Yeah.
So they're genuinely dedicated to preserving the hobby. When limited run games, whenever I buy something, give $1 to them. Absolutely. I also PayPal's been doing a donation to Consumer Reports recently, and I really love that organization. I think they're one of the coolest organizations around. They do genuine non-subjective testing of products with no advertising involved. So I believe in that. I think that's really cool. But I just want to throw that out. But that's really a shame that part of the cool thing about this was you could say, hey, I want to give this all to the developers.
Yeah, this goes I should point out don't get mad at Humble Bundle. I don't think anybody really is. Like, this obviously goes against the spirit of Humble Bundle.
Corporate,
Yeah, this is
corporate
this
bullshit.
seems like something that was imposed on them. I doubt that the people who set this up were like, you know what, let's do the opposite of what we originally intended.
Yeah, that's really a shame. Uh, I'm saddened to see something like this. Hopefully, a lot of times, like what happens is like, people, the guy who set up Humble Bundle, he was like a guy basically by himself for a long time
Yeah.
was running the entire thing, and he was making a living off of it, and maybe he might even start up another similar service, that brings back the spirit of the original, because sometimes that happens.
Or
Um,
maybe like a million people can unsubscribe en masse because the only thing that gets companies to react directly to the customers is a
threatening
direct
them.
threat to the company's bottom line.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
exactly.
they don't give a shit how much you post on Twitter.
Sure.
You put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, exactly.
I
No,
can't
you're
because I
absolutely
never
right.
subscribe to Humble Bundle. Like I'll just wait for sales or whatever. So like
Yeah,
I don't have a horse in this race, unfortunately. But on principle, like this is fucked up.
I didn't think you had a horse at all, but
That no, you know what? That's also a good point.
what's that? The wind. But yeah.
Oh wow, that took me a second. That's a callback. Jesus, that
it,
wasn't even a direct reference either. That was a nod to something else that involved a horse. That's incredible.
but anyway, you shut up. You shut up.
Yeah.
Uh, I wanted to mention this because we do a fair amount of talking about like retro like equipment and like things that you could probably help you in your retro journey if you want to play some really good retro stuff. I talk a lot about the Mr. FPGA project and the analog stuff, but this is basically falls under the category of something very similar to the digital projects that we've been talking about that convert systems to HDMI.
Mm-hmm.
So the Retrotink product line has long been has been like one of the better products around because they're really good and easy to use, and they also have like the fastest resolution switching of any product on the market besides like direct HDMI mods.
Yeah, I gotta say that's the thing that mainly gets my attention because
Hmm.
I am like 95% happy with my FrameMeister. It
Yeah,
has served me well for years. But
that's the only thing.
if I were to yes, like
Yeah.
if I were to play like Chrono Cross, because I saw people
Oh,
talk about that on
it'd be a
Twitter.
nightmare. Yeah.
If I were to play on Chrono Cross and enter and exit menus, screen goes black, 1, 2, gameplay. Get out of the menu, screen goes black, 1, 2, and like, if I were doing an action game that involved resolution switches, it'd be like unplayable.
Yeah. So, um, resolution switching primarily happens on the PS2, PS1, and Sega Saturn. Not too many other systems. Like there are edge cases. One of them is like Sonic 2's Battle Mode, for instance, is very has uses like a weird resolution
Yeah,
that it switches
remember
to.
that's a thing that exists. Because I was gonna say without something like what you're about to talk about,
Hmm.
I was gonna say just download Chrono Cross on the PS Store for PS3 because
Sure.
that's actually a damn good way of doing it and it's cheap.
Yeah.
But if you have the disc though, those resolution switches like you could always plug in your composite cables if you have a TV that supports it. But if you want to do like a FrameMeister scaling up thing, it's a pretty rough trip.
So I have two upscaling generalized upscaling devices that you can use for anything, right? Because you can plug whatever into. I have the FrameMeister, which I don't really use much anymore because the systems that I play a lot I have a solution for. But
Yeah, well that's the ideal too. A
mhm,
FrameMeister is the best thing to have if you need it, but the better
yeah,
solution still is to not need one. If you can get HDMI
yeah.
fixes for all of the systems you would have upscaled, then you've come out on top.
So for instance, I was lucky enough to get an HDMI mod uh, installed into my AV Famicom, which are no longer being produced because the person who made them is now the head FPGA guy for analog.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, so that's why you can't find those anymore. I have one of those. So I have a native system with an HDMI mod that is awesome. It's really really good. For SNES, I have the Super NT,
Yeah,
which is
I was going to
awesome.
mention for the NES I have the AVS, and for the SNES I have a Super NT.
For Sega, I have the Mega SG and
Yep.
also for Sega CD stuff as well. And for my Saturn, I have the DC Digital. For PS1, I have the PS1 Digital. The N64, I have the Ultra Mod.
DC Digital works for Saturn. It's called DC.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, for
For
the
Dreamcast,
Dreamcast.
I have the DC Digital.
All right, yeah, I was gonna say Saturn is notoriously does not have a solution.
So I was just gonna say, the stuff that I don't have that that don't have a direct solution that I would want to seek out are the PS2.
Yep.
PS2 doesn't have one yet.
Yep.
Except for the backwards compatible consoles, the PS3.
Yeah, the PS3 is. Well, if you want to go whole hog and play foreign games, then that's like a half a solution. But yeah,
exactly.
There's the PS2 and there's the Saturn, basically.
Exactly. Well, no, there's the PS2, the Saturn. If I want to play 32X, there's no good digital solution for that.
And you know what? I've never even tried to go for this because I don't have the system anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a component out PSP with UMDs,
yeah, component out PSP.
I suppose that's a thing.
But why wouldn't you just use a PS TV at this point?
Because nobody could find them, and also you don't have the. Well, I suppose you could hack it if you want to play other PSP games, whatever.
Yeah, fair enough. Neo Geo consoles. I think the Neo Geo arcade boards recently got HDMI support, like very recently. So that could technically be jury-rigged onto my Omega. But the regular console Neo Geos, the AES does not have a solution. So there's just like a handful, right?
Yeah, we are fortunately running out of problems.
Good. The thing is, the FrameMeister is an old technology. It was really good for its time.
Yeah, it's no longer being updated. Like they finished that a while ago.
It's no longer supported. You can no longer buy one easily.
You would have to do it secondhand.
Mm-hmm. And it is it was basically made for Japanese people too. There is English support, but only basically by the fans at this point.
Yeah, that's a thing that we don't really bring up often. Like the FrameMeister has a remote control for you to do whatever. But I keep forgetting that sold separately, there was an English overlay for the remote control that you put over the buttons. It's cut out just right, and you just stick it over. I forgot that was a thing, actually.
You had to do a lot of work in order, and then you had to install a new firmware that had English on it and all this other stuff.
Yeah, again, I forgot that too, because you do it day one and then you have it, and it's been years.
You also needed to get a SCART lead because the one that comes with it is JP21, and it'll fry your system if you try to.
That's true. Yeah, you need to get a wire that looks fucking identical, but will not blow your shit up.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
We ended up back in the day spending $600 getting that all together, right? I don't think I'm over exaggerating. I think it was around $600 if you wanted to get all that stuff.
Yeah, the piece itself was $400, and then you had to go find the pieces.
You had to get everything to go with it. Plus,
I don't know if it was $200 extra, but it was definitely extra.
Well, then you also had to buy SCART leads for all your systems too.
Okay. That's another thing. Okay. Yeah. I want to have a SCART adapter for my PS1. I want to have a SCART adapter for my Saturn.
Of course you do. You want to have it for everything.
Yeah.
So anyway, eventually the OSSC came out, and it was a technically better thing in the same kind of category. However, it's very fan made. It's the the FrameMeister was a consumer grade device.
Yeah, the OSSC, the OS is open source.
Yeah,
so yeah,
it's very fanny. Like you need to have some level of technical knowledge to use it. Some people say that you don't, but those are very technically minded people.
Yeah, and like the FrameMeister, somewhat similarly, like to set up your profiles for your system.
Oh yeah.
In a vacuum, that is a terrifying experience. But like, if you could find the page, which is actually not hard to find, where somebody who has a lot of skill and time,
Firebrand X.
Yeah, individually made profiles for every little thing. If you download those and just put them in your SD card or whatever, you're good. But if you didn't know about that and you're like, how do I make it look good? Oh man, that's a whole project by itself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Luckily, there was a lot of fan support, like I was saying earlier. But the OSSC was very much the same way, and probably even worse to get going, to be honest, because the styling in the settings is like Greek, even to me, who I'm into that stuff, and I do not understand what the fuck phase is. Like I don't know how those timings work. So like finding the profiles, but for the longest time it didn't even have like an on-screen menu, so it was very difficult to use. You had to use the little tiny LCD screen on the front.
Oh no.
Yeah, so
that's like navigating like a Dreamcast game like through the VMU. Like come on.
Yeah, no, it's and luckily somebody like basically hacked it into it like an on-screen menu like recently. I'm talking like 6 months. And so like that thing I never gelled well with the OSSC, even though it's supposed to be technically a better piece of hardware. But the Retrotink products have been really great. Basically all you do is you plug stuff in and it works.
Yeah, that's all anybody wants.
Yeah, and he made like all kinds of different Retrotink stuff, all different editions, all different ones with different inputs and stuff. And they even like partnered with Retro Gaming Cables, who were the people I used to buy SCART cables from, to make individualized system Retrotinks. So like you could just basically just plug that your system straight into the TV with a Retrotink in the middle. Like a Saturn one, for instance. Real easy. Just it plugs right into your Saturn and plugs into the TV. That's it. Like there's a button on it for like an extra setting that you probably won't even use.
Yeah.
And so it's super simple, right? And these were like the Retrotink 2Xs, but the Retrotink 5X was just revealed, and please go onto the Retro RGB YouTube channel and check this out. They just did a review of it, and also like they're friends, but like the guy who runs Retro RGB, Bob, is friends with Mike Chi, the maker of Retrotink 5X. But there's a reason why they're friends. They're like he loves his work. So apparently this is the shit. It has the ability to do composite component, S-video, SCART, like everything basically, except for coax. But who cares about that? And it scales it up and has immediate resolution switching for anything that you want to put in it. It's buffered and doesn't add. It adds barely any no perceptible lag is what they're calling it. So of course there is lag because everything adds something, but it's imperceptible. It's so small. And they went on sale yesterday, and they sold out in 10 minutes. They're going to be around $300, but I think this is going to be the new really awesome thing. It does have a lot of options for the technically minded, but right out of the box, it works the way you'd want it to. Let's just put it that way. So I think that this is going to be the new thing before everything gets an HDMI. An HDMI mod for itself. I mean, I'm Xbox, the original Xbox, the OG Xbox has one that I'm interested in, but like this is really cool. I think this is a really good solution for somebody who doesn't want to get their consoles modded. I think it's a really good solution for anybody because like you could just plug any old console into it and get it to work. and it looks good even with composite. Like, you don't even need to buy any special. It looks even better if you use SCARTer component, which are virtually identical in terms of quality, image quality. But like, this is it, and it's a fair price for what it is. I mean, I wish I had only spent $300 on stuff.
Yeah, right.
Like this, back in the day. I know it sounds expensive, but you'll notice the difference when you plug a Super Nintendo into this thing, or a Sega Saturn, or a PlayStation 1.
Well, especially a Genesis, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and you don't have to. You don't have to. If you're able to get one of these, this is almost as good as getting a direct HDMI mod. It isn't, but it's approaching it so closely that you don't have to seek out. You don't have to troll. The online lines for a PS1 digital that are all really popular right now, or the Ultra HDMI for the N64, which is impossible to get. So I really do recommend this, based on the reviews alone. I'm tempted to get it, but I just have I have solutions for everything. I have those Retrotinks. There's already have those Retrotinks for like my Sega Saturn and everything. So, but the smaller ones. So, I'm kind of fine with that, and I'm also waiting for the mods to come out. But I just think this is really good for the layman, and you know what? Even the power user will get a lot out of this. I have a lot for myself currently. So, okay. So, Limited Run Games had talked about this a long time ago, probably last year at this point. And,
it's been a while, yeah.
They announced this, but didn't say a word about it since. They revealed that they had gotten the Castlevania Anniversary Collection physical publication rights, which I was very happy about, because limited runs, special editions, their limited editions are second to none.
They usually go pretty hardcore for their special editions, especially for ones that they consider to be like very important. Yeah. Like Scott Pilgrim,
I agree.
There's a fucking stage performance model that comes with it. Like they went all out. So like the Castlevania one looks gorgeous as well.
So I, long listeners of the show will know that I am a huge Castlevania fan. I've been a Castlevania fan my entire life, and I already own the Castlevania Anniversary Collection. I downloaded that the first day it came out, but the extras are extremely difficult to ignore, especially on the most expensive one. It is a lot of money, but what you get here, if you are a super fan of Castlevania, it's really, really, really cool stuff.
And what was this stuff again? Because I actually forgot.
Yeah, so I have everything pulled up here. I'm just gonna go over it. But they are coming out with 4 editions. So they're coming out with just like a vanilla one for PS4 and Switch. Yeah. I should add.
Case game, yeah.
Yeah, case and game, but that's cool enough, right?
Well, that's what a lot of people want. Like, I don't want to spend like $1 million. I just want the collection. Here it is.
So there's that, and then there are the Bloodlines and Classic editions. They are rather similar, but the Bloodlines version gives people a soundtrack game and reversible poster designed by Tom Dubois, and a Genesis style deluxe clamshell case to match Bloodlines. The Castlevania.
Yeah, what a Genesis cartridge would have come with in the 90s. Yeah.
There's a classic edition that gives you the same items in an NES-like retro box.
Oh, that's cute. Are they going to do a Mighty Number 9 where, like, you could get the Japanese or the American version, and then the manual doesn't fit the fucking box?
They're just doing US, and it'll fit.
Yeah, I do not doubt that it'll
their
not be designed by a fool. Yeah.
Yeah. They're with an NES style dust sleeve and all that stuff instead of a clamshell case, so that's pretty cool. And then the Ultimate Edition just looks so nice. I
saw the box and it's like,
not
what?
Go for the Ultimate ones, but this is just this is like my favorite. This is my favorite, like probably my favorite series of all time. I love it. It's up there with Metroid and Zelda for me. It's just up there. And Half-Life, I might add. So like this is it. So this comes with a shadow box with music from the series, which alone is awesome.
Yeah,
like,
that's pretty crazy by itself. That's not even like that's not a video game.
Yeah, Castlevania music is the best music in video games, if you ask me. It just like hands down like the has had the best music like over time of any other series that I know of. I'm not even joking or being hyperbolic. Music from the series and lights. 3 retro box art prints. So these are really cool. So what they did was they put, I think they're reversible. Yeah, they basically put the 3 NES boxes onto an art print.
Sure, that makes sense.
Which is, they're really good looking, and they're that classic like Konami,
the classic
gray.
Dungeons and Dragons Ravenloft. I mean, oops, sorry.
Frank Frazetta.
Yeah, everybody's ripping off of Frank Frazetta.
Frank Frazetta are 1 and 2 and 3, and 2 is a D&D cover, which is hilarious. But they won't get any of the royalties. Don't worry.
Yeah.
A steelbook case, which I'm a sucker for, of course.
Yeah, I do like those. I like, that's not like the point of like the line that I draw, like steel case getting it, but I do like steel cases.
So mini boxes for all of the games, including Kid Dracula, which never had a US release.
Yeah, and just to clarify,
on this console.
Yeah, for the NES, it never had a US release.
Yes.
It did for what, the Game Boy?
It did come out for the Game Boy, but that is technically a sequel, even though it's kind of a demake. Yeah, it's technically a sequel. Because like when you play it, it talks about going after Galamoth again.
Okay.
He's the bad guy. He's also the hardest boss in Symphony of the Night. But anyway, Steelbook mini case. Yeah, we went over that. History of Castlevania, Book of the Crescent Moon book. That I'm really excited about.
You see, that's the thing that pisses me off. They did the same thing with Scott Pilgrim. Like, the cool informational book comes with, like, the $10,000 version of what they're selling. I don't care about, like, almost anything you said for the Ultimate Edition, except for the Shadow Box, kind of the Steelbook, and this book. But, like, oh well, I'm probably going to have to miss out on that one.
It also comes with a reversible poster, which has logo-free versions of the art from Castlevania NES, Castlevania 1 and 3.
That's pretty
on
cool.
each side. I would definitely put the 1 on my wall. So, needless to say, I am getting this. The box looks beautiful, by the way.
The box is freaking gorgeous, yes.
So, I normally do not spring... this is... even for No More Heroes, which is something I love, I got the regular edition of that. Scott Pilgrim, I love that game, and I got the regular edition of that.
I got the medium for Pilgrim. For Castlevania, I would probably get Standard or Bloodlines edition.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you.
I want that book, but like
not the rest of
the rest of what is in the Ultimate Edition does not interest me.
So the only other times that I've gotten like the big editions is I got the Doom one because I wanted the Doom posters, and I've kind of come to terms with the fact that sometimes the reason why I just want a physical edition of it is because I like the cover art. And so Doom is something I would totally have on my wall. And it's hard to find like an official poster or anything of Doom.
Yeah, it's weirdly hard.
Yeah, so like I thought that was the perfect thing. This is the perfect thing for me because an official Castlevania 1 poster that's clean with no logos.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's awesome. I'm gonna frame that and put it on the wall. In my gaming den here. And I'm only gonna do that for like a select few games that mean a lot to me, and Castlevania is one of them. It's like if they did that for Gunstar Heroes, I would 100%. I would 100% buy that.
Yeah,
And
those certain things that you just don't see art for.
Yeah.
Or I remember you mentioned when Fangamer had, what was it, like a wallet for Sunset Riders? It's like, since when have they been making stuff for Sunset Riders?
Merchandise for Sunset Riders, of all things. What's funny is Castlevania is now known like to younger generations now as an anime series, which is hilarious to me.
It has all these winks to games that they haven't played.
and won't.
Who wants to play like not an NES style game that came out on Steam this year, but an actual NES game that has all the jank?
I mean, 3-season anime series is really successful. Most animes are like 1 or 2 seasons at most.
And there's been a trailer for a 4th season too.
Yeah, I mean, and it's good. I can honestly say that it's absolutely worth watching, and I did not expect to say that. It is really good. And I've only seen the first season, mind you, but it was exceptional quality. I just haven't had a chance to watch the rest of it. And you expect most stuff like that to be terrible, honestly. Like,
I'm gonna make a movie based on video games. Like, oh, this will go real well, as it always does.
Yeah.
But no, apparently people are really into the. I haven't seen any of it, but apparently people are really into the anime.
Yeah, written by Warren Ellis too. Comic book fame. But what was the other really big edition that I got? Because I was just like, I couldn't handle it.
Did you do Fata Morgana?
I got that. Yeah, I did get that, but that one wasn't too ridiculous. And I think it was an $80 one. If I remember right.
It wasn't an overly expensive one.
This one's $175. This is
I refuse.
Way out of my normal.
Goodbye.
Same
goes for Doom. There's a lot of cool stuff, and most of it does not interest me.
Oh, I did the Neo Geo Pocket Color one because come on, that was made for me.
I still have to order that. I'm gonna get the standard.
Yeah, but the limited edition comes with the book, and it's only $70. It's not that bad.
Oh, is it? Well, I'll look into it then. I might actually go for it then.
It's $70, and it comes with like that book written by Jeremy Parrish. So I mean.
Maybe I should go for that then, because $70 that's going to be like barely more than what it costs on store shelves anyway.
Yeah, no, this is a bargain. This is not a bargain, but it's a good
deal. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, I normally wouldn't go for this, but it's the one thing that got me. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, there are some things I'm particularly passionate about that I'll spring for. Like I did Salt and Sanctuary because I've just been wanting to play that for a while, and that was not overly expensive, but it was just cool. The limited run games version is basically the Switch version on store shelves. It's just straight up the same thing, except for PS4. The only difference is a physical soundtrack instead of a digital one.
Yeah, and what I like about this as well is the box will just look nice, on your shelf forever. It doesn't matter whether this gets re-released somewhere else,
that is a gorgeous box.
It's going to be a nice piece. And let me see here. I think they're doing that for both Switch and PS4. No, they are doing it for PS4. So you know what's good about this, Lotus? I digitally own the Switch. The Switch version of the Castlevania Anniversary Collection. I can buy the PS4 physical. That way I can have it on both consoles. And I kind of like having PS4 games. I don't know. I don't know which one I like better, to be honest. I don't know where I'm at with that, but
I'll say this. Anything that is not the Switch is likely to run whatever the game is better, but the Switch's physical packages are so efficient. Switch cases and PS4 cases aren't even close. Like, the Switch is just a nice little thing that you could just pack in.
Well, most of the games that I buy this kind of stuff from are classic games anyway.
Well, yeah, to be fair, I would fucking hope that NES could run Castlevania 1 on
Doom,
NES game.
Come on. Doom, come on,
Doom specifically designed to run on everything ever made. Yeah, hopefully
including a Palatine recently. A Palatine. The the exercise bike.
Oh.
Pretty cool, huh?
Hmm.
Oh, I didn't get my shirt from Scott Pilgrim. You know what? I think they just shipped the games. I think they are. Oh, okay. Everything else is in production. But yeah.
Yes, you're good.
Yeah, but I might just get this just because on PS4. Though I do like the cartridges. I like the cartridges.
Just don't lick them, then you won't like them. Remember that from years ago? Still a
thing. Dio licking them. I love that.
No, Kakyoin.
Oh, it's a Kakyoin.
Although
it's like...
technically it was Rubber Soul, but it looks like Kakyoin. Little.
Nintendo, we're gonna put a bittering agent on our cartridges so you don't swallow the internet. Love that.
I love the end of that episode too, where it's the real Kakyoin. Oh, a cherry! Jotaro's like, what?
Something he does.
Yeah, he actually does that normally. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's so funny. But yeah. Also in Konami news, there's a lot of Konami news this week. Somehow, Konami. Oh man. Oh, by the way, this I guess should have been a news item. I guess I should talk about it. They won't be coming to E3, but like.
Oh yeah.
They don't have anything good to show you anyway.
Yeah, it's re-releases at the very best, and more gambling stuff that's irrelevant to the US at the worst.
Yeah,
maybe Yu-Gi-Oh, but that's not really an E3 thing.
What was their last original title? Was it Metal Gear Survive?
Was it Contra Road Corps?
Oh, Contra Road Corps. Yeah, you're right.
And well, I don't know if this is a Konami game or just published by Konami, but Scale Attack.
Attack was it? No, you're right. Oh, and they're putting out a Kitsufuma so I shouldn't rag on them too much.
Oh, okay, I forgot about that.
Kitsufuma Den.
Well, that's still a re-release, though, isn't it?
No, that is a sequel.
Oh, okay.
That is a roguelite sequel to Kitsufuma Den for the Famicom.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's done in a really neat new art style and everything. It looks really cool. But yeah, Konami has a whole bunch of arcade games that they have never ported before. It's hard to believe because they're known for their arcade games and arcade ports like on their systems. But there are a lot that they haven't ported, and Thundercross 1 is one of those. It's a game that is very similar to Gradius, but it's terrestrial. It happens on Earth, and it's with like realistic fighter jets, even though it happens in the slight future. It's supposed to happen in the past of the Gradius
that's
series.
Clever.
So, but yeah, Thundercross 2 I don't think has ever been ported in the past, and it is a good game. It's really good. So I definitely recommend purchasing this on Switch. It'll probably come to PS4 shortly. That's usually how the Arcade Archives releases go. But do not miss a chance to get a Castlevania or a Konami rarity, because like this might be the only time ever that they re-release this game. So it's $5.99 or $7.99 for most of these releases. So it's worth your time. And it's never been on any compilation or anything. Only Thundercross 1 was on the Konami Arcade collection that came out along with the Contra and Castlevania collection. So you need to get this to complete it. Also, last week, new Pokemon Snap has come out finally. Not hearing many impressions.
I've heard tons of people are excited that it's out, but I don't know what people actually think of the game. I'm sure it's perfectly serviceable.
I'm sure it is short like the first one.
The first one's very short, though. I would hope it's longer than that.
I mean, the Metacritic score right now is hovering around 80, which is good. The user score is much lower, but you can't go on that on first release because it might have some trolls in it. The zero it has 1-0 score from a user. Yeah, there you go. That's certainly skew it, and it's in Spanish, and it's I don't understand because it's just nonsense. So you can't trust a user score that's a 0 You
Yeah,
just
like
can't.
unless the game like doesn't boot, it's not a
Yeah,
0.
no, I mean, like, basically as low as most outfits go is usually like a 4 or a 3 is very rare. So like even a 5 is really rare. So like a completely serviceable working game is a 6. Um, and 5 and below is just like the worst of the worst, which God Hand has attained from IGN,
Yeah,
which is
God
hilarious.
Hand's got a 3 from IGN because they're a bunch of idiots.
And Nier got a very low score right around
Yeah,
that as well.
and Double Dragon Neon,
All fantastic games,
the
all
game
three of
that the
those.
game that you can grind, which arguably makes it one of the easier Double Dragon games if you put in the time.
It's literally the best Double Dragon game. I'm gonna go out and say it as a big Double Dragon fan. It is the best one, and it's funny as hell. I would
Yes.
like no Double Dragon game before it was very well rounded. The best
Yeah,
one was
I
probably
even
Double
thought the
Dragon
good Double
2.
Dragon games were like mediocre looking.
Yeah, are you talking about 4?
Any of them, they looked okay at best. They didn't
Double
look
Dragon 2
bad.
is
They
the
looked
best
like I
one.
don't really care.
Double Dragon 2 is the best one, and Double Dragon Advance is really good as well.
I've never seen Advance, but like
Okay.
just the NES ones, I'm like, eh.
For the time, that was like the first beat 'em ups we had. So
Yeah, yeah,
you know what I mean. A 3 is awful,
yeah. Three is
but yeah,
atrocious.
4 is slow but fun. 5 is just shit. Um, but yeah,
I keep
5 is worse
forgetting
than
that there's a
3.
5.
Yeah, it's a fighting game. It is
Yep.
not good. But yeah, new Pokemon Snap seems to be good. So that is the best you could hope for. Maybe it has a lot more content than the original does. I absolutely bet on that. So, I'm gonna look forward to playing it. I'll probably wait until maybe I can find it used or something, so I don't have to pay full price. I know it won't go down in price because it's a
Yeah, for
Nintendo game.
years.
Yeah, it's a Nintendo game, but we'll see. I'm sure it'll be popular enough because anything Pokemon is popular. So these days. Also, the biggest surprise, what's once confused with being an April Fool's joke a couple years ago from us, we reported on R-Type Final 2 being announced on April 1st a couple years ago. I don't know if you remember that.
Well,
But
like the trick with this stuff is it's Japanese announcements.
yeah.
So like it was April 2nd, but it's easy to overlook that.
Well, see, the thing is, sometimes Japanese companies actually shadow announce things with their jokes.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
so,
yeah,
so
they did for Yakuza Like a Dragon, didn't
I was
they?
gonna say, Yakuza Like a Dragon was like that, and Soul Cresta from Platinum Games turns out to be a real game. So,
Yeah.
sometimes it happens that way, and more like, hey, we're gonna do this ridiculous thing. No, we're actually going to do it. So, R-Type Final was meant to be the final game in the series, obviously, very obviously, and that was 12 years ago. R-Type is one of the classic shmup series that, like, it's always grouped with Gradius and Darius, or Darius, I guess you should say Darius, as, like, the classic horizontal shmups that everybody remembers from the late 80s, early 90s, and R-Type was known for its difficulty on, even to be more difficult than the rest of them, and the high level of skill needed to be good at it, because you need to juggle this invincible force pod to block things and to attack, and it's a lot of fun as a result. But the last game was really, really good. It had all kinds of replayability because on the PS2, because it was you could collect all kinds of different models of the ship that had different abilities, which was really neat. And this is finally out. You can get it physically. They have like a day one edition with a soundtrack and everything that I was able to pick up from Amazon. I'm just so happy because IREM was thought dead by by what happened to them during the Disaster Report 4
Yeah, in the PS3
problems.
era.
Yeah, and we finally got like 2 more things from them, or from their legacy rather. We finally got Disaster Report 4, and now we got R-Type Final 2. So I'm so excited. Um, from what I understand, it is not perfect on launch. They're probably going to fix up some kind of slowdown kind of stuff in patches. I don't doubt, but get the PS4 version or the PC version if you can. Do not get the Switch version because it's laggy, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. Lotus was talking about earlier. It doesn't run as well as the other ones.
Yeah, the Switch is a damn good system, but like it doesn't have the same like power as a PS4 or an Xbox Series X. Or
You need to know what you're buying.
PS5, yeah.
You need to know what you're buying with Switch games. Most games are made for it and good, but like then there's stuff that was ported to it that
That's the
especially
thing,
from
yeah.
smaller devs.
A game that pushes the PS4 is not going to run in the same way on the Switch. Like a Mario game is going to run brilliantly on the Switch because it was made for the Switch.
It does depend, though. I mean, like, for instance, we have the newer Doom games, 2016 and Returnal, both run really exceptionally on this thing. It just depends on who's porting it and what magic they're doing, honestly. But like a smaller team can't hope to optimize like a Bethesda can, or it can or whatever. So, but this game in particular, I would recommend either holding off if you want to play on Switch, or get the other versions, just to be safe if you're in shmups. Also, PS5 seems to have its second big hit. Third big hit outside of Spider-Man Miles Morales and Demon Souls. Apparently, Returnal is the shit. It's like that's what I'm hearing from everybody. It's a third-person roguelite shooter, so I'm really looking forward to checking this out. It looks awesome, and it definitely looks up Lotus's alley too. And it looks good. It's just I can't find a freaking PS5. I've been trying. I have the hall pass. I've discussed it with my wife. I could buy a PS5 if I can find one. And I can't.
I have not been trying. I'll see you in 4 or 5 years when it doesn't cost launch price.
Lotus, you won't see me.
I see you right now.
Damn.
Quick, turn off the webcam.
It's already too late. It's already too late.
It's too late. He's seen me. I've been marked.
So, also one of the famous Shoot 'em Up series, Cotton, which is a shoot 'em up.
You're a little witch on a broom.
Yeah. You're a little witch with a fairy helper. That game recently got a really nice remake for the Switch and PS4. That's apparently like really really good, and they also put like the original version of it on there.
Yeah, which is great because otherwise you ain't finding it. It was on like, the turbo graphics, and it was very expensive, or it's very expensive.
Yeah, I have a copy.
Even the Japanese version is like prohibitively expensive. Like the English version, which does exist, like good luck.
I have the Japanese one. I got it before it was worth a lot of money. I have it for my PC engine. So there were also a bunch of other Cotton games, and because of the success of the remake, they have decided to put out a Saturn tribute collection from the same company, which includes Cotton 2 and Cotton Boomerang, which is kind of like an arranged version of Cotton 2, if I remember right. So it's like an alternate version with different has some like different stuff going on with it, like different enemy patterns and things like that. And another unrelated but like by the same company a game called Guardian Force, which is really awesome. It's an it's an overhead kind of like 8-way directional shooter. Almost like a twin stick shooter, but before that stuff was a thing. Before that was like commonplace, I should say, because there was stuff like Robotron and Smash TV, but this didn't have that control method. But it was really good. All three of these games were on the Saturn and are prohibitively expensive if you want to buy any of them. And they are putting them on the Switch, so I am super excited. Why not? This is awesome. They're really good games. They deserve your attention if you are a shmup fan.
But when are they going to put Congo on the Switch?
Which? Oh no! I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then I remembered. So we took a deep dive into using our Rayas. So we looked at some Saturn obscurities, and so we were like, "Oh, we like first-person shooters. What's this?" We saw the licensed Congo game based off of the Michael Crichton book movie with Jennifer Lopez in it, or is that Anaconda? I forget.
Oh, jeez, I don't remember.
I think she's in Congo.
Anaconda had John Voight and Tim Curry.
Yeah, no, you're right. I always get those two confused because it was around the same era.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, Congo's really bad. It's not a good first-person shooter. It's really terrible. So anyway, I threw this in here kind of for Lotus because I thought he might want to look into it. But cinematic third-person adventure game Song of Horror is getting a PS4 physical release in Europe, which usually means that Americans can get it as well. But
yeah, I don't know what this is, so this sounds like something I might want to look into.
Yeah, it looks neat and it looks like up your alley, so I threw this in here.
Was this? I might be way off on this one. This isn't the Fatal Frame looking one, is it?
I think it looks very Fatal Framey. It looks very...
Is that the one where it's like the ghosts are like actual like FMV like actors? Is that the one?
The whole thing reminds me mostly of PT, to be honest. The aesthetics look very PT look.
Okay.
But yeah, no, this looks really savagely creepy.
All right.
I think this is way up your alley, and it has Lovecraftian themes, so it's very very up your alley. So
yeah, okay, yeah, I'll look into that.
Yeah, it's Meridium Games and Brazier Games. Yeah, maybe it's Brazier Games that have it. But this is a game that you could buy on Steam right now for $18, which is pretty cool. But it's finally getting a physical edition, which is pretty cool. And it looks like it's gotten good reviews. So I think this is up your alley, Lotus. I think it'll be good. Okay, moving on. What else do we got here? Oh, this is cool. So we were wondering when this was going to come around or if.
Yeah.
But Streets of Rage 4 had its most recent DLC announcement, and it's a character announcement, which is always the best ones. And it is finally Max Thunder in a second game. Playable
he
in a
was
second game.
very conspicuously missing because he was one of the main guys in Streets of Rage 2, and was he back in 3?
No.
Okay, but
he was replaced
by
Zahn.
That's right, but he was a big deal in 2, and he shows up in a way in Streets of Rage 4, but he's not playable. And it's like, but he's Max though. Like, how do you not like bring back one of the more notable characters? But yeah, well, they are. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, it was always a shame because for the longest time it was like I want to see Adam back because like Adam hadn't been back since the first game.
He hasn't been back since the first game. It's been like 20 years or something?
So they rectified that and put a new version of Adam in 4.
He's bad, and the old version.
And the old version, which is awesome. But they're finally adding Max. So this leaves all of the original characters are playable. Well, most of them except for Skate.
Which is also quite surprising.
I think that's going to be the last reveal because
it has to be.
They're going to have an adult Skate. That's going to be really cool.
Yeah, like the only characters we're missing are Skate, the Kangaroo, and Ash, which is not happening.
Yeah, Ash isn't happening. Shiva is already playable, right?
Shiva was playable anyway. Yeah, just unlockable just through the story mode, same as Adam.
So yeah, I just want to throw this out there because Streets of Rage 4 was an excellent game. It is I don't know whether I would say it's better or or comes up to the level of 2 and 3 for what they were in their day, but it is still a really really great
Yeah, I
sequel.
prefer 2 and 3, honestly, but 4 is
It's
a
a fun game.
beautiful piece of fan service.
It's a fun game. I don't think you can complain much about it, and the music is fucking great
The music
as
is
always.
freaking amazing, yeah.
So, I just threw this in here because I thought it was cool. Somebody on
Yeah, I
Twitter
saw this, yeah.
noticed that in a very recent Batman comic, Batman Legends of the Dark Knight #4, which came out this year, um, the Riddler's hideout is very much directly
Yeah.
The artist very much used Sonic Adventures Casinopolis facade
Yeah, which
as
says,
their
like,
reference.
casino on the top. Yeah, like, the resemblance is uncanny. It's amazing.
It is not bullshit. Even like small details are there.
Yeah, the only thing that's
Like the
missing are, like,
monitor.
little stars or whatever.
Yeah, but small details, other small details are there, so it is absolutely true.
Yeah, the overall aesthetic is way too on the nose to be a coincidence.
Yeah. I thought that this was really funny, and also might even just be like, hey, they're fans, and they just wanted to put that in there to see if anybody would notice, which
Well, yeah, I
they
mean,
did.
it's like Arkham. It's like, oh, they like Lovecraft, and you might not have noticed that at the time because he wasn't a household name like he is today.
You could bet that like all comic book artists are big fans of other media. That's why they got into it. So
Yeah.
that's not surprising. And artists use references of like that all the time. So I thought that was cool and fun. Also, I wanted to throw this out there because this is pretty neat. So The Simpsons have a really awesome pedigree of really great writers, especially from their golden age when Lotus and I really watched them.
Yeah,
Going
like
through
season,
middle
like,
school and high
6,
school.
7, yeah.
Exactly. That back, and even on the early, like season 4 is really good.
You're starting to
Like,
gain ground, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So like, you had Conan O'Brien and a lot of other really great writers, and almost all of them talk about the show fondly and do interviews and even do like commentaries on the DVDs and come out and do live shows and things like that. But one of the most prolific writers on during that era, John Swatzwelder, famously like right wing, like when everybody else on the show was very left wing, but also still had like the vast majority of his jokes. Apparently, this was a thing. Like writers would say that if 25% of the content that they made for an episode got kept for production, it was a successful one.
Huh.
And apparently, his ratio was 50%, like on average.
Wow.
But he also said that he gave his first interview ever, I should say, to the New York Times just recently, ever. And he's like basically a recluse. You're like other writers have said, you're liable to get shot if you try to like go up to his house to try to see if you
Yeah,
want
well, it
something
makes
from
me
him.
think of, like, Alan Moore. Getting a public statement from him is incredible. Like,
Yeah,
how do you do
yeah.
it?
You know what it makes me reminds me of, like that Troy McClure episode of The Simpsons. Like the clip show one where
Oh, the 138th episode spectacular?
yeah, where Matt Groening is like, get out of my
Get out of
office.
my office!
I
He
think
just
that's
fires
him,
at you.
actually, not Matt Groening. Matt Groening's like a hippie.
Yeah, but I think that was Matt Groening in the episode, though.
Yeah, but in real life,
Yeah, and Sam Simon has long, spindly fingers for no reason.
yeah, Matt Groening in real life is a hippie. He always
Yeah.
has been.
Just he's a shotgun toting, get out of my office!
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
John Swartzwelder is more like that, and people were the interviewers like, how did you get like? Isn't that amazing that you were able to like get like 50% of your content, that means like you're like a genius or whatever. And he's just like, actually, I just put up a fucking fit anytime anybody wanted to take out one of my jokes. So...
Oh no, that undercuts like his reputation then.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, that's a funny answer, but it's like, oh.
But he's like, it would have been better if anybody else had, because the other people were passive, is what he was saying. So like, they would even if they knew it was a good idea, they go along for the sake of being like socially.
You don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah, exactly. So he's just like, look where it got them. I mean, I got a lot of my jokes in, just by, and
putting a foot down.
His jokes are good. I mean, like.
Yeah.
These jokes are great. So I mean, it's really funny. I recommend you read it if or at least look at some of the things that people have screen capped, because the New York Times, it's so you can only read like 3 articles before it locks you out.
Yeah, it's very irritating.
It should be completely ad driven, just like any other. I don't know why it isn't. And I just wanted to mention this real quick. HBO Max has been knocking it out of the park with their exclusives lately. They get a lot of theater quality stuff. I mean, the last exclusive wasn't something I would say. I would say I was super glad that it did come to it, but like I wouldn't say theater quality. Like the rest of the Steam stuff, but. I watched Mortal Kombat. I finally completed it. It is worth the watch.
You finally finished it?
It's worth the watch. It is a cheese fest, but in a good way.
Well, yeah, it's Mortal Kombat. Like, the entire series is a cheese fest.
Cabal and Kano are the best parts.
That's the thing. I could not believe that, like, Cabal, really?
Cabal is awesome in
like this. I gotta. Does he run really fast?
Yes. No. He does all that shit, but he's also a wisecracking asshole.
Does he take off his mask and shriek, and your soul gets so scared it runs away?
No, they didn't have that.
Shit.
But like it was good, and also the fight between Sonya Blade and Kano.
I mean, that's good. Like that's fun.
Very good
every time. Like, they're never the main characters, but like, man, they hate each other.
Kano is the best part. He is awesome. He's really funny, and Cabal's really funny too.
And by the way, does the movie address that Cabal and Kano are both part of the Black Dragon?
Yes.
Nice.
And it does. It does. So maybe they all give them improv lessons. At in this Cabal or whatever. But
no. It's Cabal's a character with a K.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Cabal joins the Cabal of the Sea.
But I definitely recommend watching that if you have like a Saturday afternoon watch for sure. They did introduce a new character, which you could take or leave, but like I liked everything else.
Was it mocap?
No. He's supposed to be Scorpion's, ancestor, or no, descendant. I should say. Scorpion's like modern day descendant.
Sure.
But yeah, what I was gonna say is Tenet just got on HBO Max, and I am excited because I've been wanting to watch this ever since it came out in the theater. So I'm a big fan of the Nolan brothers. I have been ever since Memento. I've missed a few of their entries, unfortunately. I still need to get to watching Interstellar and Dunkirk, but I do want to watch Tenet really badly. I hear it's one of those movies you have to watch multiple times because it's time related, so it's going to be confusing. But I'm looking forward to it. And this last one, I'm going to throw to you, Lotus, because you broke this one to me as well.
Yeah, I don't have a million specifics for this one, but this is very embarrassing. So this is about the Oscars, which was already going to be kind of weak because 5 movies came out this year and nobody went to the theaters. Like some internet news article posted that like the Oscar winner for Best Picture made like far less money than any other Best Picture winner in decades, and it's like, because no one went to the fucking theater, you idiots. Like, of course it made less money.
Of course it did.
But that wasn't an issue about the Oscars itself. This was oh boy, this is about giving away an Oscar. So it came to the Oscar for Best Actor, and this is one of those things where do you remember when The Dark Knight came out and Heath Ledger won?
He got a posthumous.
I was just gonna say, yeah, posthumous Oscar, and like everyone knew he would. Like, whether or not you thought he truly was the best actor of that year, it's like, you gotta give it to him. Like, and he was very, very good.
I think he would have won it even if he was alive, honestly.
He was brilliant.
Yeah.
So, a similar thing was going on with Chadwick Boseman, who played the Black Panther in Black Panther. Mm-hmm. So, like, and the thing is, the Oscars, like, the proceedings, when you're watching the Oscars, were, like, hinting, like, leaning in that direction the whole time. They're waiting for, like, the big finale for Best Actor. They're building up to it, and you're like, well, gee, I wonder who it's going to be. Could it be the guy who did an amazing job in an amazing movie and also died this year? Like, but the thing is, the people doing the show, I don't think that they know what's going to be on the envelope before they draw it. Like, they genuinely get a decision.
Oh, you mean the announcers absolutely don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's why you had that...
They're kept in secret by Standard & Poor, I think.
Yeah, what was it? What was that thing with, like, La La Land, and it was the other movie? Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they announced the wrong movie?
When they announced the wrong thing. Yeah, no,
That was horribly embarrassing. Like, Moonlight or Luna, it was La La Land. That was very embarrassing. But
yeah, what was that? Was that, what's his face? Bonnie and Clyde, what's his name?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not gonna know this.
The guy who was Dick Tracy, Warren Beatty. Yeah,
okay.
Warren Beatty messed that one up, or they gave him the wrong one or something.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I think he had the wrong thing. That was awkward. But so this wasn't that bad of a gaffe. But everybody was pretty sure Chadwick Boseman was gonna win it, and then he didn't. And even the people at the show were like, oh, it turns out that Sir Anthony Hopkins won for his performance in a movie called Father, and
he deserves his accolades too. I mean, like,
yeah, Hopkins is a fucking, like, I mean, he won an Oscar for Silence of the Lambs, and he's only in that movie for like 12 minutes. That's how good his fucking performance was. But like, so he won an Oscar for Father, and he wasn't at the Oscars to give a speech because he's 83 and it was 3 a.m. his time in England, and I think the UK Academy like resisted his going there in the first place. So Chadwick Boseman got snubbed and Anthony Hopkins wasn't there to give a speech, and it was just like awkward. And like even articles that tried playing up the Oscars, you know, like afterward, had to admit that the ending was pretty weak. It's just like, oh, well,
yeah.
Okay.
They wouldn't let him like accept his. He couldn't leave the country. I mean, because of COVID. So like,
that's the whole thing. Yeah, the UK is handling it pretty poorly, and I know as an American I'm one to talk, but like you don't want to combine those two.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's really crummy. I think it's just awkward, and you know what? These highfalutin awards are really kind of grating on people lately, and the Grammys have been near irrelevant like forever.
Well, I think people are becoming more and more aware of, like, with the internet, like, of what the Oscars are. Like, these people have their
basically
opinions.
Advertisement. Yeah,
it's advertisement, and it's also people like just patting themselves on the back.
Yeah.
Like, horror movies don't win Oscars because the people in charge don't like horror movies. They don't think they're like high quality enough. It's just like the same reason Pixar was the only studio to have a chance at winning anything animated for like Disney. A decade.
Yeah.
Even though there are other animated movies that are brilliant, it's like, yeah, but I haven't heard of them, so I don't care. So Pixar wins. Like, so people are becoming more and more aware that the Oscars are like a farce. Like, I mean, if you win an Oscar, you did a damn good job. Like, I'm not taking that away from anybody, but the Oscars have like a narrower focus from what they should have. Like, if you haven't told them about this movie, then they're not going to consider it.
Yeah, you know, it's really funny because like Grammys like didn't have The Weeknd at all there, and Weeknd had like the best like one of the best albums of the year.
Well, I mean, The Simpsons was making fun of the Grammys 20 years ago. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
you can have my award. Oh, thank you, sir. Oh, it's a Grammy.
It's a Grammy. He throws it back.
Hey, don't throw your trash down here. He throws it back up.
Yeah, throws it back up. I mean, I think out of all the awards, like I like the smaller ones. Like I like the comic book ones, which are the Eisner Awards, because they usually pick legitimately what's the like some of the best stuff. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter whether it came from Marvel or DC, which are the two big ones, you know, or even Image, which is like the third one, right? They literally just pick what they think is the best. And they're usually like they usually go after all the independently created stuff. So a lot of times you can actually find out about something through the Eisners because you didn't know about it because it wasn't from one of the big labels. So like I really like the smaller ones. You know, like the Saturn Awards have long given awards to like sci-fi movies that have never had a chance at the Oscars. You know. So I like stuff like that. I don't like the Razzies so much anymore because they're just mean-spirited these days. Because they used to be kind of like fun and tongue-in-cheek, and there used to be more variance in the type of stuff that got released.
The last time I paid any kind of attention to the Razzies was when Halle Berry was like the biggest sport ever and showed up to accept her Razzie in person for Catwoman. Because she's like, I know, that movie fucking sucks. Got it. All right.
Yeah, no, that was probably the high point of the Razzies, as it were.
Yeah, she had a legitimately good speech, though.
Yeah.
Like she's like, all right, I'll take it. Yep. I don't want to ever be here again because that'll mean that I'm in something that sucks. So thank you, and hopefully I'll never see any of you again. That was great.
Well, I mean, she also has a lot of like praise under her belt too. I mean, she has an Oscar too. So,
she does. Yeah, no, she's a fantastic actress, and I don't like. Catwoman was a bad fucking movie, and and her direction was mediocre. And this isn't her fault, but the camera cuts were
the worst.
Thousands, yeah. Like that scene of Liam Neeson jumping a fence, like where it's like 100 cuts. That's like the entire Catwoman movie. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So, some good points all around. Do you have any other things that you wanted to go over before we wrap up the show for this week?
Yeah, only for a second because we're over time. Please. But this isn't like reactive consciousness news per se. I don't know where else I'd put it though. But I finally managed to achieve the true ending with a couple characters in Isaac. So even though I have like nearly 200 fucking achievements left, I don't know if I'm gonna go for all those. But I managed to see the true ending. It's been 10 years.
Oh, and I wanted to since you did like an update like that, I'll just go ahead. There are a couple games that I play for like comfort food. I'll go back to every once in a while. Like I'll play like the original Snatcher or the first the first two Half-Life games or Gunstar Heroes. I'll just pop it in and replay it. One of those games for me is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Again, huge Castlevania fan. And I finally beat it again. And this was the PS4 version, so I finally got to play as like that version of Maria, which
nice.
Was introduced on the PSP version and never before. So I thought it was really cool. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And I thought that the achievements were awesome in Symphony of the Night. They if you have access to a PS4 or PS5, definitely download that Castlevania Symphony of the Night Rondo of Blood collection. It is absolutely worth your time.
Yeah. And by the way, now that you bring this up, I don't know if they're ever going to release a physical for that collection.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Like if they did, or if somebody dumps the file or something and puts it onto a PC, or actually, is that available on PC?
No. Word on the street is that so I talked about this before, but the version of Symphony of the Night that's on that thing is basically the PSP version of Symphony of the Night, and it's an emulation of it. So that's probably not the reason why it's not on anything else.
Well, okay, so this you might have answered my question, because like my main question was if they ever released a physical or if it ever gets on PC. I'm very curious if it's still possible to access the Red Book audio where you get admonished by Alucard, like on PS1.
I don't
Like I'll put
know.
my Blu-ray in my PC, which can read Blu-ray discs, and see
Yeah,
if I can do the same thing.
I don't know because it would have to have the entire disk data or disk image on there, and I don't
Well, I'm
think
wondering
that
if they
that was
did
the
that out of
case.
laziness or out of like wink wink, we did it again.
I don't know if anybody's data mined that. It might be worth looking into. But yeah, it is the best version to play of Symphony of the Night. If you have a PS4, PS5, definitely download it. It is the best in every way. And this is from somebody who's played that game a lot. It also has a fixed translation. Like you could actually understand the story, which you could not do in the original version.
You know,
Iconically.
if Konami's gonna run with fixed translations, could we get Suikoden 2 again? Because that game's script is not great.
Yeah,
I mean, not inherently, but the localization was not great.
yeah. Well, you can't you can probably expect them to do like one or two good things a year, not all the good things.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Oh, one more news event. I forgot to put this on here. I apologize. I want to make sure that I talk about this because I just remembered off the top of my head. I was about to say, unlike Capcom, who puts out like a lot of good stuff, Capcom has announced that they are going to continue to support Capcom Arcade Stadium, and they are adding games to it.
Oh, that's cool.
Sometime this month, I think they said the 14th. They said that they are going to add more games, and they asked what games that you were looking forward to seeing. So I was disappointed that Gunsmoke wasn't on there because that's one of my favorite games. I really love Gunsmoke, the arcade version. It's hard as balls, but I love it. But there are lots of other games from their early from their CPS2 days on down, including like the Darkstalkers games and the Street Fighter Zero games, Alpha games, and there's a bunch of shmups, and maybe we might even see Alien vs Predator one of these days, because they did license it for that arcade stick.
Yep.
It I don't know if we'll ever get the Punisher. That's very doubtful. But well, they're both Disney, aren't they? Alien vs Predator is a Disney property now.
I suppose it is, and the Punisher.
And Punisher
is that within
Marvel.
MCU territory? It is Marvel, but is that in
Marvel.
MCU territory?
Yeah, it is.
Well,
because
I guess if Disney owns Marvel generally, then sure.
Well, Punisher was in the they had a show. They had a Netflix show. Disney.
Oh, okay.
Disney did. So yeah. So it is possible. I'm not saying it's likely, but it is possible, and maybe they might add like the English versions, the American versions of a couple of those games that they left off, like Mercs and there was like one other one that for some reason didn't have the U.S. ROM for whatever stupid reason. But I am looking forward to whatever, because that is a wonderful collection. I really love that collection, and they did a really good job with it. I think it's really good. All right, that's all I have about you, Lotus.
Yeah, no, I'm good now.
Okay, please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. Helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, where we will be talking about media with noir elements. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much anything, but please DM me, PM me before you friend me, just so I know who you are, how you know me, please.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, or getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
All right. Well, we will catch everybody on Thursday then.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.